30 minutes or less.
When it comes to to-do lists, do what works for you. It's really hard to shift if you are somebody who likes electronic or if you're somebody who likes paper. Ladies, you can schedule things for your husbands in there. All you have to do is say, hey, Justin, just go hit yes so that it blocks your calendar. Not cool.
Yeah.
That's the moral of today.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
I'm Danielle.
And I'm Justin.
And you are here in our living room for Fireside Chat with the Johnstons.
Let's do this.
All right. So today we're going to talk about technology and how you can turn your gym into a digital space that will save you time, money, space.
It's time to get techie. If you're not that techie.
That's right.
At least do one thing techie, and then you can add to it later. But start with something. Whatever makes the biggest impact. So we're going to talk about some ways to do that today.
Yeah. So why would you want to transfer a lot of paper files into digital? Well, space costs money.
Yep.
You don't want to get into a bigger building just to find that you're saving space for files and papers and stuff like that. If you're somewhere in the Midwest, you have about a 7,000 square foot building, you are probably paying somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000 for it, depending where you are in the Midwest. But in California, that same building could cost you $20,000, which means every square foot matters, and you don't want to waste it on space for paper.
Well, it matters everywhere, but and most people have started off in smaller areas and have had to use every square inch of that. So to move into a bigger building and be like, hey, look we got an entire room now that we're just going to use for storage of papers and taxes and stuff. Not cool. Not cool.
Not cool.
Yeah.
That's the moral of today.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 2, you don't want to have to do remote work where you have nothing. So maybe I do all of my registrations on paper. I go home late at the end of the night, and the next morning I can't get anything done because I forgot those papers back at the gym.
So basically you're not doing remote work. You're doing, you're remotely driving in your car to your work and grabbing your papers. And
maybe that's where you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, it's really hard to have backups of things.
Yep.
So something gets ripped, gets water damage, you suddenly lose all of your waivers for the last 7 years.
Or you just can't find them.
Yeah.
Because they're in that room and you've looked through it 3 times and you can't find it. That's typically me. So yeah.
No, it's not. That doesn't sound anything like you.
I like to save things.
He's a hoarder.
You make that out to be bad. It's actually good. I've actually used stuff like 10 to 15 years later. I wouldn't have had it had I not saved it and taken it between 3 different homes in the last 10.
I do remember the one time.
Yeah, there was this one time.
And you were like, Danielle, aren't you glad I hoarded this? And I was like, I'm glad we moved it to 3 different houses so you could use it 20 years later.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Came in handy, though. Did come in handy.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple easy ways to go digital. First off, if you have class management software, you should be using it, and you should make sure that you have good class management software. There are some programs that will do a lot of stuff for you. Take attendance, do skills tracking. Your staff can clock in that way. You can keep notes on the different athletes in your gym. But if you don't have good class management software, you are going to spend more time and money creating workarounds for things. So recommendations that we have.
Well, you want to do like top 2?
Yeah, top 2.
Yeah. So Jackrabbit's one of them.
Yep.
And
iClass.
Yeah.
So both of those are great options, guys. Don't waste your time on something just because it was free or cheap if it's not going to do what it needs to do for you. They should be eliminating a paper trail that you have. You should be able to do waivers online or through class management software. You should be able to take registrations that way, make notes about athletes, track skills. Those are all things that you can eliminate the paper.
And we just know that both of those companies or both of those products are continually improving their product, trying to help the industry out as far as what our needs are. So anyways,
yeah,
both good companies. So
definitely.
Yep.
Another way that you guys can easily go digital is to convert a lot of the things that you're doing right now into Google. I understand old school, we like Excel, we like Microsoft Word, but Google has been really great for us because you can open it from any computer, any phone. You don't have to have it saved somewhere.
Yep.
And you can eliminate the need for paper, because a lot of those documents that you might be training your staff on, you can simply send them a view link. So you no longer have to print a document out and pass it out to your staff when you're doing training. Other kinds of things, you recently started using Google Forms a lot more.
Google Forms, Google Calendar. That's been a big one for me. I used to write down all the everything that was going on more of a paper form of a calendar, and it's really been nice now to be able to pull my phone up and see what my calendar has on it. My wife puts stuff on my calendar. Business stuff can be put on my calendar, and it can be automatically updated every week, every month, and annually. So even birthdays, all of those types of things can be put on there. So
yeah, we've got all the birthdays on there on repeat. So that saves you about 30 minutes every year of having to sit down and rewrite birthdays in. Ladies, you can schedule things for your husbands in there. All you have to do is say, hey, Justin, just go hit yes, so that it blocks your calendar. One thing I remember from way back when you were using paper calendar, you don't always have it with you. Right?
Yep.
And so if somebody says, are you available to do this? Let me get home and check my calendar.
Yeah, if there's one thing that everybody carries with them, it's typically their cell phone. And so if you can pull that up on your cell phone, you've got it with you all the time. So it's nice, because how many times does somebody call you or somebody ask you, hey, are you available on this date? And you're like, I got to, And so now I'm able to look it up and see if I've got anything on that. And if I don't, I go ahead and schedule it right there on my calendar on my phone. And it's really pretty simple. So
I'm going to make one last point on calendars. We were talking about this yesterday because we have a 17-year-old and she's working a job and she's working with a recruiter for the Air Force right now. And she's getting ready to start school, her last semester of school, and high school cheer and all this.
Yeah.
And we were just saying, I said, do you have a calendar of things so that your work and cheer schedule don't conflict? And she goes, well, yeah, I have this on this app and this on this app. And I was like, man, we need to teach her how to use a Google Calendar, because though you would have to manually put those in, wouldn't it show if you have overlaps?
Yep.
So how many adults do you find that they're like, oh, I double scheduled myself for this, or I didn't realize I had this at this time.
Totally forgot.
Yeah. But that calendar, like an online calendar, prevents all of that.
Yeah, it is one of the things I do like about it too. It will send you a notice on your phone about 10 minutes before. I mean, I think you set all that up, but about 10 minutes before, I get a notification saying, hey, you're supposed to be doing this in about 10 minutes. And so it's a nice reminder, because I don't know how many times it's like 10 minutes before I'm like, oh yeah. I gotta do that. I totally forgot,
Well, and I used the iPhone calendar for years. And the one issue that I found with it was if I wanted to share an event with someone who is I'm sorry, I have a hard time even saying it, an Android user. If I wanted to share an event with somebody who had an Android, I couldn't just share the event over or invite them to the event and have it show up on their calendar. Google does allow you to do that, and it's free. Another option is the Google Classroom.
Yep.
So we'll talk in just a minute here about staffing, and Google Classroom is a free way of creating modules, whether it's for your athletes, the parents in your gym, or your staff, and it's free. So it allows them to click a button. They can, watch a video or read a module, take a quiz if you have a Google form attached to it, like all kinds of things that are really great. And it's free, and it takes away that paper element of trying to do staff training via paper. And now you have a record that it's been completed, and it's all digital. So when you get someone who, is questioning for whether it's for insurance or whatnot, they're questioning if a staff member completed training, you don't have to go dig through files and papers. You can now just look right there.
And as far as I know, all of this is free, except unless you upgrade in maybe a classroom, right?
Yeah. I think there's a couple options to upgrade, or some like attachments you can do to Google Forms to create payment processing through there. But yeah, great options through Google that are all really free. So we just talked about staffing. Let's go over a couple ways to go digital, because it's so easy in your gym.
Yep.
Okay. Homebase. This is something that we use for clock in the gym. We've chosen not to use our class management software for this one thing, because my daughter is 14, she works at the gym, and if she does not show up for a shift, it is going to blow up her phone telling her, you should have clocked in. Why didn't you clock in? Hey, clock in. It's also going to notify me if a staff member didn't clock in on time. You have communication through Homebase. and it's free for like up to 30 staff members. A great option for something like that as well.
And the neat thing is it's their own app, right, on their phone.
Yeah.
So they basically can do that on their phone, but even there's catches in it too, because some people do forget, like they do forget and they don't clock in. So we're able to go back, and in our case, we have like a camera system. We can check and see, or there's another staff member there, so we can put them in. Or they'll forget to clock out. And so all of a sudden they have a 16-hour work day when they were only supposed to be there for like 5 hours or something. So we're able to go back in and see that there was an issue on that day. So it's very user-friendly and it's free once again. So
and it's necessary to catch people so that your payroll isn't above and beyond what it should be. One other really great feature on there too, you can connect your sales to it so that you can see what your labor percentage is. You can communicate with your staff. Like a lot of us have an issue. Maybe your younger staff is not on Facebook. Your older staff is not on, they hate having another app like Band or something. You can communicate right through Homebase. You can also put out there if you need a day off. You can basically solicit by hitting a button and saying, hey, can anybody work for me on this day? And then as a manager with a manager profile, I can see who's available to work right now. So if somebody calls in sick at the last minute, I can look and just slide through and say, okay, let me call this person.
Now, how does that work with, how does Homebase work with your CPA or your payroll, whoever's doing your payroll?
Yeah, so your timesheets can be easily exported. We actually just gave the logins to Homebase to our bookkeeper, and she takes all that stuff, submits it to payroll. So really, as long as you're kind of checking to make sure every couple of days, like you don't have someone who's been clocked in 243 hours then in a row, then it's super easy to do that.
So that's one way you can take a lot of time off your plate. Is all you have to go in is double check. Like, do the numbers make sense for what people were clocking in and clocking out? But if those numbers make sense, it's automatically going to, like, we've made it more efficient to the point where we don't have to be doing that. You don't have to download it, send it to her, that type of thing. It's audit. She already checks it. It's already in the system. So once again, it's almost kind of like buying back your time a little bit.
Yeah. No more paper timesheets, paper schedules, paper. Okay, so we just talked about Google Classroom and how great that is. It is a free option for you. But if you're ready to kind of take that next level, step it up a notch, the NextGen Staff Portal is actually a perfect option for you. It is so professional. And when we hire somebody, I can send them an email with their logins. They go to a Start Here course where they can submit their tax paperwork. They can submit direct deposit information. And just those basic things that you would be telling a staff member before their first day, like here's where to park, here's who to ask for, here's what to wear. And they get that in video format too, so that they can, listen and kind of absorb, because not everybody is going to read every word that you write somewhere.
Okay, so if I'm not the smartest when it comes to what that looks like, you're sending them a link. And what does that go to? Like a landing page or some kind of a website, or what is that? What is a staff portal?
Okay, so we're sending them a link and it's giving them a login and password that is separate and private to just them. And they would log into that. There's a course that literally says Start Here. And it's basically a WordPress site that has modules in it. They can submit information through there. And then also later on in their training, after they've kind of done their orientation with you and stuff like that, they can watch videos and actually take quizzes. So is this like the only way we train them? No, but every staff member in our gym starts their shift with computer-based training where they're absorbing things and learning it. And then they're going out to the floor and learning the application side of, how to teach skills.
And if you're not familiar with modules, we've actually kind of adopted that from the military, but modules basically are self-led and self-taught, well, not self-taught, but self-led training seminars, but you can pause it. So if somebody needs to use a restroom or they need to make dinner for the night or whatever, you can go through the training, but you can pause it, come back to it, pause it, come back to it. It's not something that just continually plays. So
and so this is something that NextGen sells, and it's totally customizable. It's really easy to use, and kind of once you have it set, unless policies in your gym change, it's something that you can kind of have and use forever. And we've made it super affordable now with monthly payment plan. The next one is ChatGPT. This is kind of even new for me, but I've started using it a lot in different areas. I can have it write systems for me. I can have
Wait a second, is that AI?
That is AI. Thank you for air quoting that.
Artificial intelligence.
What is that from Friends where Joey is like, I can't even remember what he says, but it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, he does that every time.
Yeah. So I recently used this to write a travel and per diem policy for our staff. The cool part was I said, have it, build it around GSA, which was like the government. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's like gsa.gov, like the government requirements for like per diem and mileage and
substance and something else. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I said, write it off of, what that website and write me a policy for staff travel. And so it did. And then I said, now create a spreadsheet for me in Google Sheets that will help track mileage and per diem.
Yep.
That one I had a little trouble with, but it gave me a great start. And if you go to AI and you're like, oh, like it's not doing exactly what I want it to do, is 80% done better than 100% perfect?
Oh, yeah. Yes. At least what it gives you is a template to work off of or an outline. And why do we use government per diem and stuff like that? They do all the research on, inflation and the costs in that area, food costs, all that stuff. And they build it into a chart basically for any kind of like a military member that's going into that area. We need to pay them a little more because the prices in California are not the prices in Missouri. And so they do all that research. And so we just use their research. So think smarter, not harder. So yeah.
That's right. Okay, next up we have marketing. Marketing, there are a few things, and Justin is not our marketing guy, so I'll probably talk a little more to this, but ask questions if you have them, because if there are others who are not the marketing people in the gym, they're going to have the same ones.
Not marketing.
So we have gotten away from using paper flyers to market things a lot by creating free QR codes through Canva. So I literally have a QR code sticker that's on our Twister bus, our before and after school program bus, because you can't give flyers to a random person if they're like, oh, I wonder what Twisters is. They can literally just scan the QR code if they see it in a parking lot, and it takes them to our website for before and after school care. We recently had an Academy member. I thought this was so smart. Instead of printing flyers to pass out at a parade, she did business cards, because business cards are so much more affordable, like $250 for $10.
Oh, yeah.
She did, like a cool picture on it and then a QR code, and they just pass out those business cards. So is it still paper? Yes, but you're not having to print a full page or a half page flyer in color with all that. And so she used technology to basically create a better, landing page experience for people who were interested at a parade.
Absolutely.
I thought that was genius. ChatGPT, I was kind of testing this out a little bit too, because I missed Rihanna's session at conference. And so I was playing around with it a couple weeks ago, and I found out not only will it create content calendars for you guys, so you have an idea of some things that you can be posting when your brain gets kind of like foggy on, I don't even know what to post today for my gym, but it will tell you exactly how to run an ad, what parameters. You can say, you can upload a list of zip codes. These are the zip codes for the members in my gym. What should be my marketing radius on a Facebook ad? Not only will it do that, but it will give you all the parameters for Facebook ads. It's pretty incredible.
Oh.
Say you get a bad review, no problem. ChatGPT, here's the review. How can I professionally and politely reply to this person?
Oh, that's genius.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because your emotions are not going to give you the right answer. That's for sure.
No, they're not.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I actually had played around with it a couple years ago and said, ChatGPT, write me a letter telling my business partner, Rihanna, how appreciative I am of her. And I sent it to her, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. Guys, I actually felt bad, because then I was like, I'm sorry, that was ChatGPT. I thought you would know.
Oh, man.
I felt terrible. But it was funny.
One cool thing about getting away from paper and just trying to go more digital is we were just recently in Mexico on vacation, and we were watching karaoke. And, usually with karaoke, you walk up to the DJ, whoever's running the music, and they have to, that you write down what song you have to look through a book. First of all, you pull a book up and you're looking through the book, and then you find the song that you want. And then you write on a piece of paper, usually like what song you want and what your name and everything. And then the DJ back there has to pull up the name and all that kind of stuff, or find the music and put it up there. In this case, it's gone digital with this, where there was a QR code at the front, and you literally went up with your camera and hit the QR code. It gave you the list of songs already on your phone, and then you simply put, it was a little bit of a thing, but you put in your name and pick the song you want, and it puts you into a queue online. And so there was nothing. The DJ just sat back there. I think the only thing that DJ did was move the sound level on the mic up or down based on the person singing. So, I mean, it really made it so simple. There was no fighting. You were guaranteed to get your song in because you weren't getting bumped. And it was so simple. Like, I was very impressed with that. So
yeah, that reminded me of something. They also had QR codes for like what were the daily activities at the resort, which normally you would either get a piece of paper and like you're going to go out to the beach and it's going to get all, wet and gross and all that. Or you're kind of going back and checking the board all the time because like our kids like to do all these activities and stuff like that. Well, they had a QR code. So as soon as you hit the QR code, it would just go to a page of a website and it had all the daily activities. And you could pretty much just from there kind of have it up on your phone. And anytime I went to the internet throughout the day, I would just pull up a different tab so that I could have that up. So when the kids were like, what time do we go paint clay and where is it and whatever, like I already had it up and I could tell them. So guys, hypothetically, what if you had something like this at your gym that was like, scan this QR code to see all of our upcoming events, scan this QR code to see available private lesson times.
Yep.
Even I'm literally thinking we have, 100 classes a week. And I can't tell you how many dads might bring their kids in. And one of the questions at the front desk is like, we have our main floor, we have our north floor, we have there's several entrances where you might meet for a class. How great if a parent could and there's signs for them, but like how great if a parent could scan a QR code and say, oh yeah, okay, you're in this 5 o'clock class and
on the north floor.
Yep, on the north floor. So that's where you need to go.
Yep.
Right? That would be super cool. And it would be so easy. So there you go. Some options of technology.
Little tech things, but it eliminates issues.
Yeah.
Like it eliminates a lot of things that you're already updating in one place, but now people have access to it from multiple places. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. On the logistics end, you can use ChatGPT for things also like creating events. If I were to go, in fact, I went and I wanted to update our system for open house. I'm like, are there other cool things that I can be doing for open house that maybe I'm missing? So I went to ChatGPT. I said, I want to do an open house for my cheer gym on this date. Can you tell me a few things we could be doing? And it just came up with a huge list of them. I said, can you create an itinerary for me? Created a timeline of an itinerary. Can you create an event checklist so I don't forget to do any of the things in preparation for it? Created me that. Can you create me a marketing calendar or a marketing, it was incredible how many things. And they were things that were not in our system.
It's like having a personal assistant almost. So yeah.
It is. And if you use ChatGPT from time to time, totally free. They do have, if you're asking it a lot of questions a day, like you want to just know why something is in a certain way, you might have to get on the paid plan. But ChatGPT is free and I highly recommend it for a lot of things you're doing.
Play with it. Just try it out.
Yep.
You might be surprised.
You're going to get a lot more done in a day and it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be stuff you have to go back through and modify, but it's the right start so that you don't have to create things from scratch. Yeah,
you don't want to create the wheel. Let's already get somebody that has done it before, or the ChatGPT in this case. So
yes. Okay. So there's a few things in our gym. I'm going to shift back. Few things in our gym we do still do in paper.
Yep.
And I just wanted to kind of mention those. One of them is a new member folder. It is a tangible folder. It has a buddy pass, a coupon for the pro shop, a skills sheet that says these are the skills your child will be working on in this class, and just a little bit of information about the gym. There are QR codes on there so that people can get more information by scanning the QR code, but it's a tangible thing because we hand it to them along with their gift bag that has their new member t-shirt in it. So you don't have to go away from paper entirely, but at this point we felt like they're more likely to sit and shift through the papers than they are to just scroll on their phone, because when you're watching your child's class, you don't want to be the parent that's just staring at the phone the whole time. And
I think the bag that holds the t-shirt is paper as well.
That, in fact, is paper. Exactly.
Not a Walmart bag.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. There's a couple other things, like we do some mass sign-ins. So when somebody comes for daytime playtime, we do absolutely check their waiver, but they do have to physically sign in. It's because, if I had them do a digital sign in, it might take us 3 minutes for each person to sign in, which doesn't sound like a long time, but I can tell you the daytime playtime we did for Halloween had 130 people. 3 minutes times 130 people are going to be in line forever.
Now, this isn't the actual waiver itself, right?
Correct.
The waiver's already on file, and that is digital.
Yes.
It's the them just signing in saying that they were there. Just in case something were to happen, you do have documentation that person was actually located there, and it wasn't somebody that's accusing you of something that wasn't there.
Exactly.
Because that can happen. So.
Yep, and that was something that we kind of realized a couple years ago was like, so we're checking all their waivers, but if we don't have a roster, what would we do if someone said, well, she got hurt, 3 weeks ago at daytime playtime? And we're like, well, we checked the waiver, but I guess we didn't note that they were there.
Yeah.
So now when they sign in, not only do they put the child's name, they put the child's date of birth, and then they have to sign as the parent or guardian. Heads up, there's waiver verbiage right above it. So in the event that we were to do something wrong, or it's just a second cover for us, but it is the event sign in and it has that waiver verbiage that you're also signing to.
Yep.
Though we make sure we have the waiver on file digitally.
Absolutely.
So, okay, the last one that I have that currently I do in paper is a to-do list. I like to have it in paper so that at least right now for the summer, so that I can turn my brain off when I go other places. I don't want to be on vacation getting a notification from Trello that says this is due, and you have to do it in a week, because it'll make me feel like I need to go work right now.
I personally like a to-do list on paper or a whiteboard as well. It has something to do with being in front of you and being just present. If you have to look at it and it's right there, you can stay focused. Otherwise, you rabbit trail. So when I'm out and about, I like to have it written down on a piece of paper, whether it's a Post-it note or whatever. That way I don't forget what's on my to-do list. When I'm in my office, it's on a whiteboard. I got a whiteboard right next to my desk, and I just write down my to-do list, and I literally have to look at them. So the big thing with to-do lists is just not forgetting them, or not forgetting the order in which they are, or something like that. So.
Yeah. When it comes to to-do lists specifically, I've worked with a lot of gym owners who are like, oh, well, you use Trello, so I should use Trello, or you use paper, so I should use paper. This cool planner that NextGen offers. When it comes to to-do lists, do what works for you. It's really hard to shift if you are somebody who likes electronic or if you're somebody who likes paper. So don't try to shift just because you feel like maybe you should because somebody else does. Figure out what works for you. And if you're like me, where something works for me during the school year that doesn't in the summer, totally okay. Just maintain consistency so you're getting stuff done.
And we may not always use the same style of to-do list that we're doing currently right now. We'll probably modify in the future, because there'll be something new that comes out that's really cool and allows it to be more universal, and that'll be the way. So
absolutely.
It just works right now. Yep.
So here's what you need to do moving forward. Walk around your gym a couple times in the next couple weeks, and I want you to look, where are you using paper? Where are you paying to print paper? Where are you throwing away papers? Like, what are you doing in your gym that's in paper? And would it work for you and your staff to digitize that?
Yeah, and there may be some places that you're not using paper, but now you heard something that might eliminate a step where you're involved, where you can pull yourself out. So kind of like the home base, we don't have to download those and send them to the accountant or whoever does payroll for you. Maybe that person, you can connect them together and take yourself out of that. And now all you have to do is monitor it for a little bit. But where can you eliminate some of that time that you're spending that digitizing could help you out? So
yeah.
And attack one at a time. You don't have to be like, oh, I want Google this, and I want to Google this, and I want to do home base, and I want to do marketing. That's a lot. Attack one at a time. And the way you attack those, which one has the most value to you? Which one's going to make the biggest impact? And do that one first. It's almost like Dave Ramsey's domino effect with financing. Just attack the one and then continue to domino it all the way down to the last one. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. So next week, join us on Fireside Chat. We're going to be talking about the 5 worst pieces of advice that we have ever been given as business owners. It's a good one.
Only 5, huh?
Well, you might get a few bonus ones in there.
Yeah, there's a lot out there.
Yeah. All right, you guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week on Fireside Chat with the Johnstons.
See ya.
Hey guys, make sure that you get registered for the Next Gen one-day business builder event in the Mile High City.
Where's that at? That's in Denver, Colorado,
That's right.
right here. September 26th. Go to ngconferences.com to sign up today.